Of course, future is imaginary, as we have discussed earlier. Imagine that you will start an action in future and you will continue that action for a particular point of time in future. Now, why am I telling you all these things? Because tenses are done. We are done with tenses. But I don't want you to be rigid with the tense, that okay, no, I have to use this particular tense here. She will have completed her project by next week. Which tense? By next month, I will have been living here for a year. This is easy to guess because we have just finished this tense, right? Yes.
Welcome to Uninterrupted, where communication means no interruption.
Hi, welcome to Uninterrupted. My name is Hina and we were discussing tenses, right? And we will be discussing the last tense today, and there'll be certain practice sentences that I would love to ask you because, as promised, this is also a practice session. So stay tuned because today your tenses will be done and some practice will also be done. But before we move forward, you know what you have to do, right? You have to like, you have to share and subscribe so that I can come back again as usual, right? And I will come back again with so many grammar related videos. All right, so we discussed all the parts of present, all the parts of past tense, and 3 parts of future tense. Today we'll be discussing the last tense, that is future perfect continuous tense. We have done simple future, future perfect, future continuous. Now it's the time for last tense, that is future perfect continuous tense. So this tense is like imaginary tense. Imagine you will start an action in future. Of course, future is imaginary, as we have discussed earlier. Imagine that you will start an action in future and you will continue that action for a particular point of time in future. And that is what this tense is all about. Like, I'll start traveling tomorrow. Like, that's my thought. Like, I'll start traveling tomorrow. But I am imagining that my travel or my travel itinerary will continue for like next 7 days. So those 7 days are my imagination, my planning, right? So that imagination will come in future perfect continuous tense. That means future perfect as in a particular time in future, and continuous means till the time that thing will continue in future. There is no connection for this tense. There is no connection to this tense with past or present. It is totally in future, and it is a mixture of perfect and continuous. So of course, just like continuous, we will be using ing also in this tense, right? Yes, but in the mixture of perfect, future perfect tense, we will be using will have here. Yes. So what can be the rule of this tense? Tell me. So if we talk about certain rule or the particular rule of this tense, it will be subject plus will have plus been, because we are talking about continuation of something, right? Then we'll talk about verb plus ing. So the whole rule will be subject plus will have been plus first form or the base form of the verb with ing, and then there is object if there is any object. So this tense talks about a particular time in future, maybe by next year, that is particular time in future, and by that time something will be happening in future that I'm imagining. Like by next year, I will have been. I is the subject, will have plus been plus verb first form plus ing. I will have been working in this organization for 5 years. This tense talks about duration of time. This tense, it is important in this tense to talk about time and duration. That is the reason we discuss this tense. It is not mainly used, it is not the most common tense that we use a lot of time, because we simplify things. Otherwise, you can use this tense when you're talking about some action that you will start in future and you will continue till late future, and there's a particular time involved. Like, by next week, I will have been working on this writing part or this poetry for 7 days, right? So that means by the time you count the days, there'll be 7 days completed if you count it for next week, right? That is how we use this tense. So try to form certain examples, certain activities that you may be doing right now, and if you count those activities, maybe you're taking this course, maybe you're learning tenses, maybe you're learning some course. So you can say that by next month or by the end of December, I'll have been working or I'll have been practicing my tenses for like 2 months, right? So that's how you form this particular tense. Do not overcomplicate it. It is simple. Think about any particular time in future, that is not right now, any particular time in future, maybe tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, and think about what will you accomplish by that time and how many days or months or years that will have been, by the time you accomplish that thing. And then you add examples. So by next year, we will have been learning this course for 7 months. All right, all these examples, take out some time, practice this tense, practice all the future tenses. And if you go to the short video, then you'll see, or I'll tell you here also, that instead of using future tense all the time, we also make it present. All right, like I will leave, I leave by bus at 6 p.m. That is future. I will. 6 p.m. is future. But what if instead of using future, I say that I am going to leave by bus at 6 p.m. Even that is correct. So many times people will change from future to present tense rather than making it complicated by using future tense. All right. So it's up to you. How do you form these tenses? You can use any tense that fits correctly in that time zone. You can change the tenses. You can mix and match. You can experiment, and that is how tenses are done. You do not have to be. Now, why am I telling you all these things? Because tenses are done. We are done with tenses. But I don't want you to be rigid with the tense, that okay, no, I have to use this particular tense here. I know that according to the time zones, you have to decide the tense, but experiment, mix and match. Maybe instead of saying that I'll go to park, you can say I'm going to go to park, right? That's how it's going to change from future to present. So experiment with the sentences, form a lot of examples, make a lot of mistakes, and you will be done with your tenses. Now, as promised, I'm going to give you some sentences and you have to do an exercise right now in this video. I will speak out certain sentences, mix of all the tenses. I will not tell you the solution. You have to tell me after stopping. Just pause the video and think about which tense am I talking about, because this exercise is good for identifying the tenses, and there you just have to identify which sentence is from which tense. Simple, right? Are you ready? Amazing. Here goes the first sentence. And these sentences are mix and match of all the tenses. That means if we do simple present tense first, then it doesn't mean that the first sentence that I'm going to talk about is going to be simple present tense. Nope. These are all interchanged or mixed and matched from all the tenses. All right. So without further ado, here goes the first sentence. The first sentence is, they are playing cricket in the park right now. Tell me which tense is it? Pause the video, think about it. They are playing cricket in the park right now. Second sentence is, he has finished his homework. Identify which tense is it. He has finished his homework. Third sentence, we visited the museum last month. We visited the museum last month. Fast, which tense? Yes. Fourth, she was cooking dinner when I called her. She was cooking dinner when I called her. Which tense? Identify. Next sentence. She reads a book every single day. She reads a book every single day. Interesting, right? Which tense? Next sentence. I have been studying for 5 hours. I have been studying for 5 hours. Which tense? Next sentence. She had been working there for 6 years before she got promoted. She had been working there for 6 years before she got promoted. By the time he arrived, I had left. By the time he arrived, I had left. Which tense? Alright, I will call you next month. I will call you next month, or I will meet you next month. Which sentence or which tense? She will have completed her project by next week. She will have completed her project by next week. Which tense? By next month, I will have been living here for a year. This is easy to guess because we have just finished this tense, right? Yes. By next month, I'll have been living here for a year. Easy, right? And last sentence is they will be traveling this time next month. They will be traveling this time next month. You'll have to identify all these sentences and you'll have to tell me which tense is from which sentence or which sentence is from which tense and the part of the tense. Alright? Identify one sentence is from each tense. This is like a practice exercise. Form more examples, form more examples from each tense. Think about your life scenarios or whatever you're doing right now, whatever you will be doing tomorrow, and whatever you have done yesterday or last month. Which tense is which scenario, or which condition from your life fits in which tense. That's how you practice tenses. All right, now I will meet you with something else because there is a lot more grammar left. So I will meet you with other grammar topics after this tense. So we are done with the tenses. I hope you understood everything. I hope you will practice, and I hope these sentences that I asked you were easy for you. And I will meet you in the next video. Thank you so much for listening and take care. Bye-bye.